Hi, I'm Matthew Lapp, host of Matthew Lapp Train Guy Segment Show. Also today in this segment, I'm at the Amboy Depot Museum in Amboy, Illinois.
The Amboy Depot Museum is located on 99 East Main Street in Amboy, Illinois, and is open 1 to 4 on Thursdays and Saturdays and 10 to 4 on Fridays and Saturdays. The Amboy Depot Museum is a former Illinois Central depot, and it was built in 1876 and was the division offices housing the dispatchers, accountants, civil engineering, and other staff. After only 18 years, the division offices were moved to Chicago. In 1967, the depot closed as an open agency. Today, the Illinois Central Depot houses the Amboy Museum and has numerous Illinois Central artifacts. The Gruber crossed the Burlington Northern's Burgess Junction, Denrock branch at Amboy, Illinois. Also, it is on the National Register of Historic Places. The depot has an inside exhibit scene, and outside got a steam locomotive and caboose on display. Also, the interior of the Amboy Depot Museum is a largely unchanged Victorian Division headquarters of 1876. Visitors walk beneath the 11-foot ceilings through the 8-foot-high elaboratory framed doors as they access the 19 rooms of the museum. Herein is contained some of the rarest artifacts of the Illinois Central Railroad, including original publications from the 1850s, the decade of the railroad's incorporation. Additionally, other rooms contain artifacts and remembrances of Amboy's history from its 1854 incorporation as a city to the 21st century.
What you see right behind me is Grand Trunk Western 8376.
Grand Trunk Western 8376 was built by Baldwin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1929 and is the 61007 steam locomotive built by that factory and is an 080 eight-wheeler type steam locomotive and is a P5G class steam locomotive. Grand Trunk Western 8376 was used for the Grand Trunk Western Railroad as a freight locomotive and hauled freight, and even used as a yard shunter on the railroad. Then, in May 1960, was sold to the Luria Steel and Trading Company. Then later that month was sold to the Northwestern Steel and Wire Company as Northwestern Steel and Wire Company 36, and worked in Sterling, Illinois, and used as a switch engine for the company. Then, in 1976, was renumbered as Northwestern Steel and Wire Company 76 and still worked for the Northwestern Steel and Wire Company. Then, later on, the locomotive was retired and in 1981 came to be part of the Amboy Depot Museum in Amboy, Illinois, where it can be seen today. Also, Grand Trunk Western 8376 is one of 7 surviving Grand Trunk Western 080s left in the world today, and 8376 can be found here at the Amboy Depot Museum in Amboy, Illinois, where it is on display today.
What you see right behind me is Norfolk and Western 518-125.
Norfolk and Western 518-125 was built by the Norfolk and Western Roanoke shops in Roanoke, Virginia in 1915 and is a wooden caboose. Norfolk and Western 518-125 was used on the back of freight trains many years ago on the Norfolk and Western Railroad as the train crew's office. Then, later on, Norfolk and Western 518-125 was retired and then came to be part of the Amboy Depot Museum in Amboy, Illinois, where it can be seen on display today, and also during museum hours you can even visit the interior of the car as well.
You can see right here, here's a railroad crossing sign right next to this caboose right here. It's been here for a number of years, or since the museum has started. and it's probably been used by the Illinois Central Railroad, but here it is today. Okay, here's another signal that looks like the other one I showed you, and this one is right next to the steam locomotive at the Depot Museum. Yeah, once used at a crossing like the other one, but here it is today. What you see right behind me is the Illinois Central Freight House.
The Illinois Central Freight House was built in 1904, and it is the second freight house in Amboy, Illinois. This freight house replaced the original freight house that was built of brick near the depot. The second freight house was built 1 block north of the depot and is of a simpler wooden construction. When the railroad line through Amboy was abandoned in the mid-1980s, the freight house ended up on a separate parcel from the depot and was thus preserved in private ownership for nearly 2 decades. When the owners indicated they wanted to rid their property of the freight house, the Depot Museum borrowed enough money to pour a concrete foundation and hired a house moving specialist to move the freight house to museum property in 2003. The freight house provides an additional 1,800 square feet of space for the Depot Museum to display historical artifacts from the Amboy area and its residents.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys around inside the depot, the train exhibits that they have. I'll get to the other side of the camera and go inside with you and walk around. So here we go. Okay, we are just entering this room, and this is where the telegrapher would have sat. And look at those. Wow, pretty amazing. And here's some more exhibits. Here's a mannequin of Abe Lincoln. Let's go into the other room. Okay, here we go into this room. And this is, I think, let me look above the door. Anything good? Oh no. And here we go in this room. Look at these pictures. There's a mannequin. Wow. Pretty amazing in here. Look at that quilt. And that looks like a baseball player right here. And let's go upstairs maybe, if this is... Wow. Alright, here's the model railroad they have on display. Pretty good. This is HO scale. They sure did a nice job working on this. Take a look at these. Pretty amazing. Okay, here we are upstairs. You can see that little toy train, an old toy train. And look at that poster of Lionel trains. This was a child's room, as you can see. Oh wow, looks like those are Lionel tracks. And those look like old trains. Wow. Well, I hope you all enjoyed learning about trains with me today in Matthew Lapp Train Guy segment show. Also, I hope to see you all again in the next segment. And if you didn't subscribe to my channel yet, it's free if you do so. And please be sure to give my channel a subscription. Please subscribe. I'll appreciate it. And if you didn't give my Facebook page a like yet, here's where you can find it if you don't know where to find it. And if you don't know where to find the Instagram page, here's where you can find it as well. So please give the Facebook page a like and the Instagram page a follow and this channel a subscribe. So this is Matthew Lapp, host of Matthew Lapp Train Guy segment show, signing out until next time. All aboard!